I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, February the 28th, where the stock market had its worst day ever. This coronavirus is killing the global economy, and if we can't get this thing under wraps, I'm not sure how bad it's going to get. But, we start getting some information that maybe it's getting a little bit better in China, where it all started. We've got a lot more businesses open there. They're starting to ship things there again. So workers are coming back, but it's spreading all over the globe. And of course, those countries are telling you the truth, so it sounds a whole lot worse than it is. We still haven't seen deaths reported anywhere like your common influenza, but it's just spread so fast, evidently, and it's got everybody spooked. And the Trump economy has built this stock market up so big that it can really take a huge hit, but well over 1,000 points down on Thursday, roughly down 3,000 points the last three sessions there. And it's just unbelievable how fast you can knock that down. But whenever you get something that's just totally fear and uncertainty and people don't know what to do, well, that just kind of throws all your fundamentals out. So when you've got markets and commodity markets too, but publicly traded markets that are amid fear, your fundamentals don't matter and your technicals don't work. So then you don't know really what to do, and so people just sell. And there has been some opportunities to jump in day trading on some of these cattle futures here. The last few days has just been going down crazy. Your feeder cattle opened down the limit or shortly after, and then bounced back and then finished down pretty hard, but it's just unbelievable. Your February live cattle futures down $1.45 at 112.62. April down $1.87 at 110.47. Your support did start showing up on your out fronts or your back end months there, and so that does continue to lend a little bit of sign. And we saw some middle of the week that the sky is not necessarily falling, and there's going to be some opportunities for you guys that don't just throw the towel in to get in here and make some money when this thing kind of recovers. March feeder cattle down $1.50. Remember when that was the limit? 132.57. April down $1.90 at 134.07, and did have some late year support on your futures on feeder cattle also. But your other ag commodities have kind of been just volatile and mixed here throughout this. They haven't lost as much as your cattle have. Hogs were down hard though on Thursday, more than $2 on all your traded months there. Corn down 4 to 6 cents. Beans were actually up 2 to 5. Your Kansas City wheat was 7 to 9 cents lower. But on your cattle futures, heavy volume, and we think that your funds have kind of flushed out. We may see some opportunities for this to gain back, and also on your stock market for you guys that kind of interested in that. Your public has been, and your traders and just the financial world has been looking for your stock market to have a correction. They've been wanting a correction before they can continue to push to new highs, and we've had over 100 all-time record highs here in the last few years. It just continues to grow and grow and grow. But they were kind of looking for a 13% retraction there, and then it can springboard back up. Well, we got that here in just about 2 or 3 days, so maybe it can go back up now, and we hope to see it recover. And these fears of this virus just coming in and totally taking over the world, and I don't know, everybody's going to have a fever and have to stay inside for a few days. I don't know. Most of your deaths that's been confirmed have been on people that's had their health has been compromised in some point or another, or they've been young, or they've been old, or something like that. You don't see a lot of really healthy people falling to this disease, but it does make you sick, and we're hoping that maybe a change in weather will cause it to not spread quite so fast. And we are having a big change in weather across the globe, and that would be great if we could do that. But Your fat cattle trade has been sharply lower this week, and it all traded in the early part of the week, which we hardly ever see. But through Wednesday in your 5-area feeding region, negotiated trade 59,600 head. That's a typical week's trade, and mostly happens on Thursday and a little bit on Friday. But it's happened mostly on Tuesday, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And that's actually not too bad a trade. Then we had more fairly significant trade on Thursday, but it just keeps getting lower all the time. Iowa, 6,100 head confirmed on Thursday there, 113 to 115, and quite a bit of 114. That's another dollar lower. You remember we were trading 120 last week, so that's $5 to $7 lower on a live basis. We had some dress sales from 180 to 185. That's $5 to $10 lower on a dress basis. Nebraska, 2,600 head confirmed, 112 to 114 there. That's actually $6 to $8 lower than last week's live trade. You hardly ever see it knock off that much in a week's time, let alone the front half of 1 week's time. Your dress trade 183 to 185. That's $5 to $7 lower. Kansas had a little bit of trade, but really just 2 loads of cattle at 114. But that would be $6 lower if we had a little bit more to really confirm that. But it's $1 to $3 lower than it was earlier in the week. So we're starting to lose ground just every day, progressively lower in your fat cattle trade. Box beef cutout values were mixed again, and you would think that if coronavirus is going to affect the amount of beef that people eat, your box beef cutout values would plunge. Not so much. They've been kind of mixed and volatile here the last few weeks since that coronavirus has really got on the news. But your cattle prices always plunge. And every time there's a disaster that happens in your markets and fear and innuendo and uncertainty comes along, it's always handed down to the producers and the cattle feeders. It's never taken on by your corporate packers. Box beef cutout values, choice cuts on Thursday afternoon, 205.54 down 80 cents. Selects 199.69 up $1.09, and a choice select spread there of just under $6. Your slaughter's been pretty brisk, 487,000 through Thursday. That's 13,000 more than the previous week and 16,000 more than the same week a year ago. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on DB auction late in the day on Thursday at 135.24, down another $1.77, and that is a 7-day moving average, guys, with a lot of volume in it. And I tell you what, we're about $6.50 lower than we were at the end of the week, end of the previous week, and we still got more time to go. It's just unbelievable how much equity, probably is the best word for it, that's been lost in your feedlots and your farms, your ranches, everything, just losing so much value of what you own. But look at your big sales. Pratt, Kansas had kind of a lighter run, 1,600 head there. Feeder steers $2 to $4 lower. Feeder heifers $7 to $10 lower. Calves were not well tested, but we did have one kind of a stick out sale there that I'll show you. 74 head of 700-pound steers at Winter Livestock in Pratt, $153.50. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas. They had some snow come through earlier in the week, and everybody knew the market was going to be down hard, so they didn't have very many people bring cattle in. Only had 700 head, lighter receipts, and not a very good test of the market. How about Woodward Livestock Auction, Woodward, Oklahoma? They get huge runs there. I was near Woodward on Thursday over in Canton, Oklahoma at the Chain Ranch doing some video on the cattle. They're going to have a sale here in a couple, 3 weeks, and the good red Angus cattle there, and a lot of open heifers and replacement quality heifers on that Chain Ranch sale. You guys want to be looking forward to that. It's coming up here in the mid to late part of March. But don't forget about that sale if you're interested in some red Angus girls. But Woodward Livestock Auction, 3,600 head. Of course, it was a foot lower, just like all your big volume Oklahoma sales that were earlier in the week. But steers $6 to $10 lower. Had a few bigger, heavier steers weighing over 9. They were steady to only $4 lower. Feeder heifers $7 to $10 lower. Heifer calves $10 to $15 lower. Ouch. but some big quotes that come in. Mitchell, South Dakota had a big sale, 5,400 head. Guys went ahead and brought them in there, $2 to $8 lower. The full decline was on your heavier feeders, but look at this stick out bunch here in Mitchell, South Dakota, 138 head of 715 pound steer calves, 148 and a quarter. And Valentine, Nebraska there, they always have good sales, a lighter run there too. Guys kind of pulled back what they were going to bring, but 2,300 head there. And they said it was very uneven, the market was. They actually quoted some calves that were higher than 2 weeks ago and some a lot lower, but just very uneven. But talk about a stick out deal in Valentine, Nebraska. 86 head, black baldy steers weighed 466 at $2.21. So I guess the buyers and bidders on those cattle figure that they're just going to go ahead and plan on like we're going to continue living, and they're going to try to make a living the best way they know how, buying some lightweight fancy steers and putting some cheap gain on them. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.